Tired of dropping your phone or struggling to prop it up? Meet the Pop Sockets phone grip with expanding kickstand in black, your new must-have accessory. Don't miss out. Grab yours today. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
J.D. Vance's cousin Nate fighting in Ukraine and gives bombshell interview saying, "I want to tell him the truth about war." J.D. Vance's cousin has slammed Donald Trump and the vice president as Vladimir Putin's useful idiots in a bombshell interview. Nate Vance has reportedly spent years fighting for Ukraine and has now publicly urged J.D. to listen to his real-life horror stories about Russia's barbaric invasion. Nate also blasted his outspoken cousin for taking part in the Oval Office ambush on Volodymyr Zelensky, which caused a seismic shift in U.S.-Ukraine relations. Brave Nate is believed to have rushed to defend Ukraine's borders after Putin illegally invaded over 3 years ago. He is said to have traveled to Ukraine just 3 weeks into the war and reportedly formed part of the Da Vinci Wolves' first motorized battalion volunteer unit. Speaking to respected French newspaper Le Figaro, Nate said the right thing for JD to do would have been to speak to him about his first-hand experience on the battlefield. Instead, Nate claims the pair haven't spoke despite him leaving messages with the vice president's office. Nate said, "His own cousin was on the front lines. I could have told him the truth without pretense, without personal interest. He never tried to find out more." Nate even revealed that he was forced to leave his Ukrainian allies behind in January when his cousin swore an oath to become Trump's number 2. He said it had become too complicated to fight on from a political perspective, as if he had been caught, it would have caused a number of issues for Washington. Both JD and Nate served in the U.S. Marines when they were younger, with the VP managing to avoid any combat during his 4 years in the military. Nate, on the other hand, has spent his years, since leaving the Marine Corps, continuing to fight on over in Europe. His passionate comments follow on from JD's scathing dressing down of Ukraine and Zelensky. Back in 2022, JD publicly said he didn't really care what happens to Ukraine during the conflict. And just weeks ago, at a crunch meeting between Ukraine's president and President Trump, Vance led a fiery war of words against Zelensky. The heated clash saw JD launch several accusations at Zelensky, including a barrage of comments around the president not saying thank you to the U.S. enough. JD also said he felt Ukraine was being disrespectful to the U.S. for trying to help end the war. Zelensky challenged several of the harsh comments before Trump jumped in to defend his VP, leading the chat to be dramatically halted. Trump then asked Zelensky and his team to leave the White House, sparking serious diplomatic fears. Nate said watching footage of the Oval Office showdown felt like his cousin was ambushing Zelensky. In the week since, U.S. support for Ukraine has waned even further. Trump decided to cut military aid off to their once trusted allies, and he also banned Ukraine from benefiting from their intelligence sharing. This has led the troops almost fighting blind, without much of the specialized technology which has helped them stand toe-to-toe with a tyrant so far. Nate even says he fears that the U.S. president's team is becoming drawn into Putin's despicable games. He added, "Donald Trump and my cousin clearly believe they can placate Vladimir Putin. They are wrong. The Russians are not about to forget our support for Ukraine. We are Vladimir Putin's useful idiots." Nate was left disappointed by his cousin, but said he has always been a good guy, intelligent, but may now be playing politics. He said, "When he criticized aid to Ukraine, I told myself that it was because he had to please a certain electorate, that it was the game of politics. But what they did to Zelensky was an ambush of absolute bad faith. It comes as top diplomats from the U.S., including Secretary of State Marco Rubio, are set to meet the Ukrainian delegation for talks on ending the war in Saudi Arabia this week. Zelensky is jetting in today ahead of crunch talks with the U.S. on Tuesday. President Donald Trump believes ungrateful Zelensky took U.S. cash like candy from a baby for war-torn Ukraine as he explains the reasons behind the infamous White House row. Trump has labeled Zelensky as ungrateful, just over a week after the pair's extraordinary Oval Office bust-up, and blamed the Biden administration for giving Ukraine billions in military aid. He also said that there are chances Ukraine may not survive if a peace deal is not reached soon. In an interview with Fox News' Maria Bartiromo on Sunday Morning Futures, he said, "It was like taking candy from a baby what he did. He's a smart guy, and he's a tough guy, and he took money out of this country under Biden like candy from a baby. It was so easy with that same attitude. I just don't think he's grateful. We gave him $350 billion. The president also stressed that he has been very tough with Russia, tougher than anyone has ever been to Russia. Trump's past comments, including labeling the Ukrainian leader a dictator, fueled speculation that he was siding with Moscow, and he has previously cast doubt on continued U.S. support for Ukraine. Slamming these claims, the Republican said, "I stopped the Russian pipeline. I'm the one that put sanctions on Russia. I'm the one that gave the javelins, but I get along well with Putin. Nobody has been tougher on Russia than Donald Trump, and they know that." He added that despite the tough measures previously taken against Mad Vlad's nation, he got along with Putin, just like he got along with Kim Jong-un and China's President Xi Jinping.